Hi, good morning, and welcome to Sounds Like Lisa, where we are changing the way you listen to this world on 12radio.com. This is Sounds Like Lisa, and I'm Lisa Gonzalez. I will be here live today to do your reading, and I'm going to open up the lines today. So in a minute, I'm going to be putting a phone number on if you want to be able to call in and have me read you. But I thought I would and welcome you if you've never been to my show this afternoon. I am live every Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time or noon Mountain Time or 2 p.m. I guess it is Eastern Time. Okay. Uh, it is a crazy week, and I'm glad that I'm going live and that I'm going to be able to show you guys what I'm doing. We've got a Mercury retrograde coming up. I've talked about it in my show the past couple of weeks. We also have like a lunar eclipse, a full moon going on, just a lot of stuff going on for a lot of people. So if you're feeling a little wonky and you're not sure what's going on, this is the show for you to listen to so that maybe you can pick up a few clues on how to deal with the next 3 weeks, because the Mercury retrograde is 3 weeks, out there. And I'm here to help guide you through it every Thursday at this time, same place, same time, here, simulcasting live on Facebook, on YouTube, and on 12radio.com. Okay. So, hello. I am shuffling the cards. I've got the cards here right now, and I'm looking forward to seeing what people have to say for me. Let me take a look. I'm going to put my chat up now. I'm just going to show you this. This is where I am. And hopefully we can show what can be done here. Okay. We don't need to show that. Okay. So, oops, no, we didn't want to show that. Okay. So, what are we going to do? We have like a crazy couple of weeks coming up. The retrograde is one of these things to where things that we have left undone usually come and surface up and bubble up from the depths of God knows where. But the things that we haven't like fixed or finished usually come surfacing again. If we have a problematic relationship, sometimes like the problems in the relationship at that point in time will pop up, or something that we haven't resolved will be coming up in that time. You have to pay attention to what's coming up in this time. This is not necessarily the time to start things or end things. It's the time to reflect and try to work on things. Okay. Traditionally, Mercury retrogrades usually meant that you would be having issues with like electronics. People have their cars break down, their printers break down, stuff like this. And everybody will say, oh, it's Mercury retrograde. Yes, that's the truth. And no, it's not fun, but you can learn a lot in these 3 weeks. And given that we have so many different aspects of like things happening right now, it can be very, very hairy. So be patient with yourself and be patient with others. As I do the weekly spreads, I will be talking a little bit more about that. I'm also opening up the lines today, and I'm going to be taking some calls and doing this live. I haven't done it yet because I used to do it when I was just my radio show, but having to do it live and streaming, it just meant that it's a little more difficult, and I don't really know how to do it so well, So I'm definitely wanting to make sure that if I do this, everybody can hear it, and it's going to be one of these things where it's a trial and error, and hopefully it will work. I do have one reading that is going to be, I know, coming on in a little bit. She's going to be waiting in the wings, and I will be bringing her on live, and she will be my first person that I'm going to try to do at least an audio reading with. As I get better at this, I can probably bring on a visual reading, but for the time being, I think it's more comfortable for people to probably audio read than visual read. Next week, I want to just give you a heads up. Next week, I have Gracie Ray, who's also a fellow psychic at 12listen.com. She's going to be coming on with me, and we're going to be talking about depression and all sorts of good stuff. I tend to have her on a lot. I have to bring on some other people too, but Gracie Ray is just so easy for me. Between her and my mother, they're just so easy for me to bring on and roll with. But I have tons of friends that I'm starting to plan out now that we're going to actually be able to see them and talk to them and have questions and have a good time. So it will be more of a dialogue in the next coming weeks than just me talking, which is fantastic. I know that you guys are here to find out what's going on for the next week, but I also want to expand my show out to the other things that I do and the things that I really want to share with you all. So definitely just hang in there with me as I fool with my show format to try to figure out what works best. I think I've been saying this half the year, but I mean, I did get part of what I wanted to get done, which was at least get the video feed up for the time being. And so now I have video and audio, and hopefully for those of you who are just listening audio, it's still as fun and as exciting and interesting as it was when it was just audio and not audio and visual. And I do see people saying hello. Hi, Jean. Hi, Quelly. Hi, Liliana. I've got all of my cameras and my I've got 3 different computer screens. All this stuff is showing me what's going on. So hopefully I can get to everybody today. Okay, so I'm going to quickly do the readings, some of the readings, and then Jean, I know you're on board. I'm going to private message you the phone number for you to call in, and then I'll open up the lines. Okay, so let's just start off with what's going on up in this next week. I've been talking about how it's going to affect different people differently, and I want you to understand that, sometimes a retrograde is worse than others, and this one's going to be interesting, okay? Just because of the fact that, I think we got a lot going on, and it's going to show up in different ways for different people. Okay. So for the first card that I have right now is the High Priestess card for Capricorn. High Priestess card for Capricorn is saying that you're going to have to use your intuition, Capricorn, this next coming up week to really kind of see through things. It's asking you to pay attention to what's going on around you. Listen to your gut. You may not know exactly what's going on, but you're going to have to trust yourself. And for someone who is very analytical in general, this might be a little bit difficult because you don't feel like you can trust yourself. Take a leap of faith. I know you're going to be thinking, should I, shouldn't I? Should I trust myself? Am I right? Is this the right thing to do? Do yourself a favor and just go with the first instinct that comes from you, and that is very gut wise, because it's showing me that you may be being deceived. And this time when I was looking at this time, I was discussing this with my mom, who is a psychic astrologer, and I wish I could give her a call so she could tell us what's going on in her words. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll surprise her. But she was like, well, be careful of deception during this time, because certain signs are going to be feeling more deceived, and they're not going to see very clearly. And this is very true for Capricorn right now. What you're going to be seeing in the next week is that you're not sure what's coming up for you. You're not sure if you could trust yourself. In a world where you can't trust what's going on around you, Capricorn, you're going to have to learn to trust yourself. So recognize that this is going to be something that is a little offsetting for you in some ways, because it's normally not something that you have to try to feel out, because you make up your mind very analytically, but I'm asking you to do so just because of the fact that it is something that is something that is not normal for you. Okay, now let me pull on my second card here. My second card is for Aquarius. Aquarius, you have the 6 of Swords. Now, whenever we have 6s, we do tend to like them. And I have said, and if you listen to my podcast, I have a special liking for the 6 of Swords, because it's the only card in the Swords suit that it has a maze, and then you see these 2 different little strings going through it, and they make their way out of the maze, and then they're both able to connect together. So basically the meaning behind this is, even if you don't know how you're going to manage something, you will end up managing it, and you will end up finding out that things are going to work out in divine purpose. Okay, so this is a good thing for you, because it is divine, how do I say this? Divine timing, divine perfect timing, I guess I'm saying. Everything happens for a reason. So do not worry so much about like what's going on. It's happening in divine perfection is the word I'm looking. Yeah, so I'm looking at this and going, okay, for Aquarius, it's going to happen even if it's not as you planned and you're not sure how you're going to get it happening. It's going to happen for you this next week, the actions that you're taking if you want to get somewhere. Now, going over to Pisces. Pisces, you have the Five of Cups here. So Pisces, the Five of Cups is kind of sad in the fact that it looks like there's this big block in the middle of your road, okay? So it looks like there's something that's an obstacle that's blocking you, and it's going to emotionally disappoint you because you can't seem to get around it or find your way around it, and it's going to be very disappointing for you. So the one thing I want to say about this is the only way to get through this block is internally. It's how you perceive things, how you think about things, how you feel about things. So the obstacle that's in front of you is asking you to work within yourself, okay? Come from within to make the changes so that it's not a blockage anymore. So Pisces, this is not always the easiest thing for you because you can feel very overwhelmed and very disappointed that things aren't going your way, but it's all about perception and how you change your thought and your emotions. You'll change your attitude, and then you'll be able to get away with like blowing up that blockage, because you can't go around it or over it, or you have to actually come from within and like move it from within. Okay. It's not always the funnest card to have, but it really makes you have a different perspective on things. And once you have that perspective, then you will be able to move forward. So when you find yourself disappointed, see what you can do to change your thoughts and attitudes, and you'll see you'll have a different outcome. Okay. So going over to Aries now. Aries has had kind of an interesting few weeks. Aries has a Seven of Swords, and sevens are always an indication of change. Now we think of change of action. And last week you had the Three of Wands. Now you have the Seven of Swords. So let me show you what this looks like. And for those who can't see it, it's this big monster, like staring down at this little person who's staring up at this big monster. Okay. So if you're that person, you're going to feel very overwhelmed with something big and looming over you that you feel like you cannot get away from. And having this as an Aries, you're going to feel very kind of beat up with the situation, in the sense of feeling like, oh my gosh, I can't change this. Well, the best part about this is that you can change it, but it's all about you walking away from it. So the Seven of Swords is saying, change your action, change what you're doing, Aries. Rather than trying to face something that you can't change, walk away from it. Okay. The action that you're being called to do is saying it's a futile situation. So walk away from what doesn't work for you, and you're going to find that you can have the happiness that you want. But it's no point in like facing this big thing that is like concrete, because you're not going to be able to destroy it. It's already set in stone. So do yourself a favor and walk away from it next week. The situation is at hand. Your action is to walk away, and you'll find you'll be much happier. Okay. Going over to Taurus. Taurus is the Ace of Discs this week. Let me show you this. Ace of Discs. Okay. Milan, I see your questions. I will get to those as soon as I get through these spreads. I just want you to know how this works with me. I just kind of go through the Lisa scopes, as I call these things, so that you know what's coming up this week, and then I open up the floor and actually look at things for people. So the Ace of Discs for a Taurus is very interesting. It means that it's going to be like new. It's like aces are new beginnings, but you're starting to see the results of what you have been wanting, like what you have been building up to. Now, I got to talk to you, Taurus, because a lot of the Tauruses that I've been reading and that are my friends and whatnot, I have seen with Tauruses and Scorpios, and they are opposites, okay? A lot of times those opposite signs have a lot of things in common, even though they're opposites, because they have, they're polar opposites. So some things will affect each other, right? So what I've been seeing with the Tauruses is that you're reaping what you have been sowing for the past few months. So if you've been in a situation where there has been a lot of chaos and a lot of drama, and you've been hanging out with a lot of people that you really shouldn't be hanging out with, you're going to find the reaping of that, in the sense that you could find yourself responsible for the actions that have been going on around you. And it's going to cause you to take a look at things and say, okay, is this really what I want in my life? Is this really what I'm trying to accomplish in my life? If it's something good and healthy for you, that's great. But what I've been seeing, especially with this retrograde coming up for Tauruses in general, is that a lot of my Taurus clients and friends have been wrapped up in stuff that hasn't been too healthy. And so now some of the things that are coming back at them are not the results that they want. So during this Mercury retrograde that's coming up these next 3 weeks, what you want to have happen is to change your focus from where you've been unhealthy to really focus on what would be much more healthy for you, because you can find yourself in trouble. I know one Taurus, and I don't think she's going to mind. I know one Taurus who's been running around with a bad crowd, no names, okay? And now she's being an accomplice in something that is like the police are looking at. And while it wasn't her, it was her boyfriend, she's probably going to get in trouble because of the fact that she was around this bad crowd, and she's wondering how to wriggle out of it. And really what needs to happen is cut your ties. Get rid of what was bad, cut out the mal and like bring in the healthy stuff. But until you like realize that you have the results of what you've been reaping, around you, I mean, it's a great time for reflection to say, hey, am I in a good spot? Am I not in a good spot? But if you're not in a good spot, it's the time to like get yourself out. Okay. So I'm just saying this is a good example. Now, Scorpios, which is on the other end of the spectrum, Scorpios, if you're listening, even though this isn't technically your sign right now, this can happen with you too. If you're in a situation that's bad, it's the time for you to like cut ties and get out of there. But you're going to be facing the music on what you have or haven't been doing. So just so Scorpios, this kind of refers to you too, because of the fact that you both have these like coming at you right away. So I noticed that with the Tauruses and the Scorpios right now, there's kind of a lot of nightmarish situations going on, more than some of the other signs, because they're reaping what they sowed in a sense. So hang in there, both of y'all. I mean, we're going to get through this the next 3 weeks, but you got to realize that there are certain things that are calling you to action, and you need to like step up to the music and like take a really good hard look at what you're doing. Now, this could be said for anybody, but I really think that my Scorpios and my Tauruses are really feeling it right now. So like hang in there. Okay, going over to Gemini. Gemini, we've just left you. No, actually, we're just going into you, I guess I should say. We're leaving the Taurus and going into Gemini right now, as we are the 27th of May right now, which we're fully into sun sign of Gemini. So Gemini has a Hierophant card right now. So Gemini, this is an interesting card for you because it's telling you that you could have some life-changing experiences going on in this next week in some ways. Some of the decisions that you make are going to help you decide what you're going to be doing in your future. I want you to pay attention to people who are trying to give you advice. There is some good advice that you need to be listening to and heeding the advice. So pay attention to who's around you and giving you advice this next week, because they are there to try to help you change your life for the better. And it depends on like how much you trust these people, Gemini, in order for you to move forward or not. But you've got some good advice and an opportunity for a change, and either you take it or you don't. But honestly, people come in and out of your lives to give you help. You're like to give you advice. If you're willing to listen, you can move forward and grow. So be careful though, because like I was saying, in general, we're going to have to be careful on who is giving you advice, is what I'm trying to sound like, because it's important that you definitely don't, what do I call it? I want to say it's something that you definitely want to pay attention to, because if it's not good advice from a good person, you could go down the wrong road. But if you feel that it's good and it's good advice, listen to it and move forward. Okay. All right. Let's see over here to Cancer. Cancer is the Wheel of Fortune. Okay, Cancer, I haven't seen really big action from you for a little while. Last week you were the Six of Discs, which wasn't bad, but the Wheel of Fortune is a major arcana. Now, Gemini just had a major arcana with a Hierophant card, and Capricorn had a major arcana with the High Priestess. So this is our third major arcana. We always pay attention to where the major arcana falls and how many during these, because we can tell what weeks are more important for people than others. And this Wheel of Fortune card is saying, guess what, Cancer? You have good luck coming your way. You're also having a cycle end. That 10 is the end of a cycle, beginning of a new cycle. What comes around goes around is what they kind of say with this card. But it means in general that you have good luck coming your way. It is ruled by Jupiter down here. You can see the Jupiter. So that's the ruled in the house of luck. So next week for you, Cancer, you might be doing something really fun or having a good time, being on vacation. It's a good week for you, Cancer. So no stress as you're having a good week. Pay attention to it. Maybe buy a lottery ticket, because I think it may be one of these days where it's on, like, it's better for you than not. So it's going to be a good week for you. Not everybody has that, remember. So, take it when you have it, right? Going over to Leo. All right, Leo. Leo, you also have so I have a feeling now that we're now at 4, because we have another major arcana card. It is the Judgment card. Okay, the Judgment card for Leo, it's a major arcana card, and it's upside down. Okay, so I had said to you all just a little bit earlier when I started this, I'm going to put it right side up because it's easier to look at, right? I had said to you earlier that you could be deceived, or this is a time where you have to be careful. This is especially important for Leos because you could be conned about stuff, okay? When this Judgment card is upside down, it means that you may not be thinking too clearly on how you're doing with things, and this could be very dangerous for you. You could be taken advantage of during this time next week, so you have to be very careful with the decisions you make, and you may find that there's somebody who is trying to maybe not tell you the truth or deceive you in some way, or you're given a bad deal. So, like, be careful with what is going on around you. If you have court this next week or something else is going on having to do around court, probably it's not going to be in the best of your favor. So just pay attention. It's not the best week for you to be making any huge judgments, and pay attention to the judgments that are going on around you, because there may be some caveats in there that could be deceiving. Now, that is 4 major arcanas that we have right now. So we know that next week's probably going to be a pretty big week for everybody. The more we get, the more we understand that some weeks are more important than others, and it'll hit us harder. So it looks like tomorrow, no, not tomorrow, but next week when we start from Sunday to Sunday, this could be a very heavy week for a lot of people. So hang in there, people. We're going to get through this. I'm here. Going over to Virgo. Virgo is actually not bad. Virgo has the 3 of Cups. So Virgo, while everybody else is having issues, you may find that your life is going pretty well next week. This is new beginnings. This is abundance. This is fantastic. I'm happy to see this for you, but not everybody has this card. Okay. This is like, I love this card because for Virgos, this is saying next week you could have opportunities. Things will be opening up for you. It's the birth of like new ideas. You're feeling really good. So while we have some people not doing so great, Virgo, you should be having a good week. And it's good to see at least somebody's having a good week, right? But pay attention to what is like flowing around you, because it's going to be like that the whole week. And you should probably, you should have a good week, and you should be really happy about it, really. There'll be new beginnings around you. For people who are trying to get into a relationship that's a Virgo, this is a time for it to bloom. Just watch as things start growing around you. It's nice, and it'll be appreciated for Virgo, I'm sure, especially since last week you had the 10 of Cups, Virgo, and that wasn't bad at all either. So you've been having a few weeks here that aren't so bad, which are pretty good. So I'm happy to see that going on. Now, let's go over to Libra. Libra, I don't know what's going on with you, but let's take a look. Libra is the Queen of Swords. Okay, Libra, my fellow Librans. So when we get the Queen of Swords, this is telling us we have to watch our tongue, okay? Because we can be very sharp and we can tell people off, and we don't mean to. It also means that we're very much so in control of a situation, and we can be very harsh. Our actions can be very decisive, and for Libra, that's not always the case. But the Queen of Swords is like you're showing yourself for who you are, and it may not be the softer side of yourself. It may be more of a I've had it type sort of like the axe is coming down for those around you. If they're doing well around you, you can be very happy and you can say what you want. But in general, when I see this with a Libra sign, I know that somebody may piss you off and you may tell them off. As a Libra, I understand this because I'm generally, that's the word I'm looking for. I'm generally in a good mood and I'm really flowy with people, but sometimes I can be very blunt. And so with my fellow Librans, we have to be careful about how blunt we are with each other because it can be very effective and we can hurt people's feelings. So, if you find yourself wanting to yell at somebody or have some issues with somebody, recognize the fact, Libra, that this next week coming up for you, you might be a little shorter of temper. You might really want to say your opinion, and it's got to be heard loud and clear. But be careful on how you say these things, Libra, because you could have people being really upset with you if you're not careful. So I just want my fellow Librans to know that our tongues can hurt other people, especially when we decide to be very blunt. But you will be in control of the situation, but your actions and how you speak to others can affect people. It's a great time to show like how compassionate you can be when you're in charge of a situation, but be very careful with your words because you could hurt people's feelings if you're not aware of it. And we tend to be blunt and it doesn't go so well with other people. And I don't want that happening to you. That's never fun. What I'm feeling with my Libra friends is that it's going to be okay. But we just have to, sorry, I'm trying to write a phone number at the same time, but we just have to make sure that our words don't hurt other people. Okay. But you can be in control. You can be a queen, but use it in a manner to where you're not hurting other people. Okay, that's my caution to you. Now going over to Scorpio, I just talked about Scorpio a little earlier, and I think the first call that I'm going to be taking when I open up the lines live will be a Scorpio, so you can hear what I'm talking about, these nightmare situations with Scorpios right now, how they're having to deal with things because they're having a rough time. Like I was talking about with the Taurus, let's see what the Scorpios get pulled today. The Magus card. Okay, that's actually another major arcana. Okay, and that's actually a good thing. This means, Scorpio, you have all the tools you need in order to succeed. You just have to know how to use them and recognize you have them. So when you're feeling defeated, Scorpio, when you feel like you've been having a hard time, this is telling you nicely that you have all the tools you need, but you're going to have to put your mind to this and like let everything flow and utilize the powers that you have. I'm going to get more into this, I'm sure, when I'm going to be doing a live reading, but I just wanted you to know how this works, okay, Scorpio? So hang in there. And last but not least, Sagittarius. I always do it in order, and then I always feel bad for the Sagittarius because they're always last, but this is just how I flow. So Sagittarius, you have the Valor card. Okay, you have the Seven of Wands. You're another person who's Aries had a 7 too, but this is the Seven of Wands. So Sagittarius, this is not so bad. This is talking about trying to move from one situation to another situation here. Okay, see this guy, he's jumping from one cliff to another cliff and he cannot fall short or else he will die. So this is one of these things to where you feel like you have to make movement, you have to make a change, otherwise, and it has to be successful. You can't fall short of it, otherwise you're going to plummet down and not succeed. And I don't want that to happen to you. I want you to succeed in all things, Sagittarius. Now, what does this mean for you? So this could be moving from location to location, like making a change like that, making a shift, but like this also could be like a shift in the action and thought about what you're doing. So say you're doing one job or something that is like you're doing one thing, but it's not very satisfying for you. You will find that you'll be switching tactics in your job so that it can be more successful for you, because where you are right now is a dead end and you're not liking that. Jean, you want that conference code. I'm very much, I don't understand. Chris, Gina is getting a conference code for the number. It is 857232. I'm going to actually put that on right now. Here is the add caption. Turn this on. Show. Here is the number to come in for live radio, okay, or live live show. It is 857-232-0155. I don't know if there's a conference code. Chris, do you know anything about this conference code thing that I'm supposed to be looking at?
The extension.
Oh, the extension number is 870303. Let me put this on here. I want to show this. Okay, wait. Let's see if I can make this happen. I want to type on it. How do I type on it? Okay, 870303. That is your conference code, 870303. And I'm going to put that one to show too. So I should have this to show, and then I can show this. That did not, and now why can't I put them all together? Because they won't let me. Okay, hold on. I'll do it like this. Extension 870303. Bam. Maybe hide this one. Show this one. Edit this one. Oh, to do 10 things at once. It's not the easiest thing. I can hardly chew and walk, as they say, chew and. Okay, so this is the number to call if you want to do your reading. But I'm going to be taking a caller in a second. This is for your live readings. That's the number down there. 857-232-0155, extension 870303. So, Jean, I know you'll be calling in a second because she's on deck. And anybody else who wants to have a live reading, I'll be doing that as soon as I get through this. So, I just want to let everybody know. So the next 3 weeks are going to be kind of crazy in a sense. Like there's a lot of movement going on with these retrogrades. And she is on hold? Okay. The first call that I have is Jean. We're just going to call her Jean. And I'm going to give you a little up shot on her. Basically, this is why I'm reading her. She wrote me after the show last week, and she said, "It's a good thing I believe in Scorpios rising from the ashes, but Mount Vesuvius is a bit much." Now, why she said that was because she said, what did she say? Jean, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I think everybody can hear you, so this is good. Jean is a Scorpio, and she's got a lot of questions for me, but she basically said that last week's reading hit spot on, and you had said I had said something about, what did you say? Something about like it being like Mount Vesuvius when I said, instead of it just like blowing up in your face, it really totally did, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
Okay. So basically, do you mind me talking about this on air a little bit? I'll just call you Jean and nobody needs to know who you are more than anything, So basically, Jean's birthday is 10/25. And she is going through kind of this horror story about her mother dying and somebody stealing the will. And the woman who's stealing, who's like, that woman is suing you, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and she's an Aries. She's, right?
Yeah.
And she's a family member, which is no fun. So, for those of us listening, it's always interesting to see when people die. Because families will do one of a couple of things. They will either come together or they'll fall apart. In this situation, it sounds like the family has clearly been fighting and falling apart. It's not a fun place to be, especially when you're the person that people are looking at. And this particular person is looking at you and taking interest in suing you, stating that you stole thousands from your deceased mother, which isn't true, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Yeah. And so, for those who are listening for the first time, this woman is Jean, and I know this woman. She's not a thief. She's not somebody who would go off and steal a bunch of money from her mother, especially during a situation like this. And trying to fight this is really bringing you down in your money situation too, right? So,
Yes, it is.
all right. So what I'm going to do right now, since I've given kind of the background, I'm going to pull on the situation because you're feeling like you need to defend your honor. And what this is doing is this is actually killing your bankroll by defending yourself, even though you think she's the one that's the thief, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to look at the situation. So I'm going to pull on you first, Jean. Now, just so everybody is noticing, she is a Scorpio. And I was just saying in my reading earlier that the Scorpios have a lot of stuff coming at them right now. And it's kind of a very defensive time in a sense on like how you handle things. But that Magus card says that you have all the tools you need in order to handle this. You just have to be aware that you have those tools. So this pertains to you too, Jean. Now, and look at the 3 cards that I pulled on you. I love doing readings live so people can see how I read and where I get things from. So the first card that you have is the failure card. I hate the word failure, but the people who did the cards that I'm using, and I tend to use these cards a lot for those who like frequently watch this. This is the Rohrig deck, and it's a German person, and the Germans are so absolute with the way they say things. So I prefer the word nostalgia rather than failure. But basically, there is a guy sitting in the middle of nowhere, just with his head on his hands, just thinking about what could have been, what could have, should have, would have been. Okay. And wishing things were different. That 7 is saying, reminiscing on what didn't work. So it's showing you looking back going, I wish I would have done things differently. Okay. I want you not to be so hard on yourself because I know you feel that you could have probably done something different, but a bad egg is a bad egg. Okay. And so this person that's coming after you is having their own sense of misery as well. But they're instead of like reminiscing like this, they're taking action. And because they're in Aries, they're very much, when you get an Aries and a Scorpio fighting, it's very stingy. Okay. They go right towards the jugular. They're very vicious with each other. And that's what's going on now. She's barking hard and she wants to bite, but I don't know if she has really anything to bite. You have the Ace of Discs saying that it's the beginning of, well, first of all, it's about money, but it's the beginning of an outcome. Okay. And then you have the 4 of Discs, which is saying that actually, Jean, you have the power to handle this, but I'm worried about your health with this because it's very stressful, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. You cannot let this take you too emotionally down. Okay. This is not a good situation for you. And I feel that, yes, she's been trying to cheat you out of like your situation for a long time. What has it been, like 15, 20 years or something like this? This has been going on.
Yeah.
How long has it been since your mom passed though?
My mom passed, about 2 years ago, maybe 2.5 years.
Okay. I know you're worried about losing all of your financial holdings, right? I don't feel that you're going to lose your belongings or your storage or anything like this. How does it all resolve? It's going to go to court. Here's the Justice card. I just pulled that. Have you been talking about going to court?
Yes. I have a lawyer that I've been working with for the past year and a half when this popped up. But like all legal things, it just goes super slow.
Right. Well, here's the thing. I think you'll win if you go to court. You were the executor of your mom's will. I do feel that you had people seeing that she was in the area when the will was stolen or whatnot. It's a shame there's not a copy of this. And, I'm going to say this to anybody else who's listening, because this is really important. I see this all the time. If your parent is ill or dying and they have a will, make sure somebody else has a copy of it I mean, this is really important because I know this is a very personal, touchy subject, but Jean, had you had a copy of the will, you would have felt a lot better, right?
Yes. Actually, I had a copy, but when I was moving, it was all boxed up with some other papers, and I can't get to it.
Let me see something here. You can't get to it because it's physically far away? Yeah, you have the oppression card.
Yeah.
So it means that you can't really get to it, but you know it's there, right?
Yeah.
So if worst case scenario were to happen, you probably could get to it, even though you can't get to it at this point in time. I don't think you're going to need to get to it, though. But she doesn't know that you can't get to it. So, I mean, the threat of that is there, okay? I think she thought that she destroyed the will and therefore nobody has a copy. But if worst case scenario, remember I told you have all the tools that you need? If you needed to get that, you could, even though it's not easy. I know you can't get it right now. I can see it. It's under the oppression card. But that's a tool. That's a backup tool, okay? I really don't even think you need to go that far. I do feel like if you were go to court, you would prevail. Okay, even if it would take time. I think you said you were worried about everything you touch is turning to crap, you know. That's the way it feels right now. And I pulled that you have the Hermit card on this. So you're feeling very isolated. Okay. And you're feeling like you're alone in this. But you will be figuring this out. This is a huge lesson for you on where you stand. I'm just looking at this. I don't think it's going to hold up. I know court takes a while, but I don't feel like she's going to win. And I think if necessary, you could find that paperwork, not right now, but later. But I don't even think you're going to need it. If she thought, um, if she thought that you had that piece of paper, she would drop everything. And she needs to know you have that. Did you tell her you have a copy of that?
No.
Yeah, well, I think I'd say something to her like, really, I do have a copy of the will. If you really want to go through this, you're going to look like a fool. That type of thing. It may be all you need to know. She didn't know that you had a copy. Even if you can't procure it right now, and I know she's not watching this, so I don't feel like I'm giving any secrets out, you know? But that is like your ace in the hole, okay? And I do feel like you will win. But she just thought that like it would be a lot easier, and she's looking to gaslight, throw the blame on you is the word I feel like saying when it's really her. But I do feel that most of your family knows this about her. So it's really not showing that you're bad. But what I'm concerned about is that you feel like you're going to lose your other possessions in the fight for this. Now, it shows me you're not. Okay. And so I'm glad. I just got a couple people saying, I'm going to talk to my mother right now because I don't want to go through this. I cannot tell you how many people, I mean, it's even happened in my own family to where there was a will and stuff going on and it didn't happen the way it should have. And, the will all of a sudden disappeared, and my grandma was her sister left her money, and the son came in and stole it. So he got the will and destroyed it. So this is something that if you feel that you have family members, and all of us have all different families and different situations, if you feel like you have family members that might be a little dishonest, or not so functional, make sure that copy, I know it's an uncomfortable situation to talk about, but make sure you talk to your family members about what to do. Nobody, just like Queller said, ain't nobody got time for that. What to do about this so that you don't fall into the situation, because this is really more grief than it's worth. And I don't think the person passing wants anybody to fight like this. But yes, there are some unscrupulous family members, and I've seen it in the 20 years I've done this. I have seen it multiple times because somebody got in and got the will. So if you're talking to the family members that are around you that have wills, say, hey, can you put a copy somewhere? Can you give this to somebody? Just so that, especially if you're the executor of the estate, that you have it so that nobody tries to cheat you. And Jean, I'm sorry I'm making an example of you, but you may be helping other people who are listening today. And it's really important that we can save anybody else to go through this as well. What questions do you have for me, Jean?
Oh, But how long is this going to last? And am I going to get any income anytime soon?
Well, you're going to have to...
not from her. I've gotten my income from her, but through another situation that got lost. So I'm having to face going back to work.
Okay. All right. So we got two separate situations here. So what I saw was that you're going to need to speak up and not be afraid. Okay. What does this mean? I think the quicker you speak up about this situation and almost call a bluff, I felt in total it would be 4 years. Okay. So you've already gone through 2 years of this, so it's probably another 2 years. Okay. But that's not where I feel you're necessarily getting your income from. Let me take a look at your income right now. And this is another thing. You are a Scorpio, and I can't tell you how many Scorpios I know that are in transition. They either don't like their job and they want to change, or they're going to have to go back to work. But there's this transition about work right now to where or moving or getting themselves in a better situation that they're facing. So you are not alone, but let's see what it says about work for you. Okay, the Empress card is the first thing that comes up. So Jean, what can you do on your own as your own entity to make money?
Well, one thing, there are two things that I've been looking at. I'm a very good artist.
Yes, you are.
I was thinking of selling my artwork. And another thing that just kind of cropped up out of the blue, you see the card that just is handing something out of the blue.
Mm-hmm.
And I offered to teach a church member how to do mending.
Nice.
And she mentioned that to another church group. And they were all like, oh, yes, we all want to learn how to mend. We don't know how.
Oh, see?
And
okay.
So we may be doing that.
Because what this shows me here is the Empress card, okay? So this means that you would be kind of like working for yourself and teaching others, okay? This is why I asked, what can you do? Take that artwork of yours, maybe make some postcards or some greeting cards with the artwork or sell it however you want, but it's all through your own initiative. I don't think you're going to need to do necessarily a traditional 9-to-5 job from what this is showing me. This Empress is basically saying, you had said to me earlier, which nobody sees, but I saw it, that everything you touch turns to crap. But this is not saying that. This is saying that everything that you touch, if you wanted to work, you would actually make it work. So I think you're being very hard on yourself. The next part is the Judgment card. So the Judgment card is saying that you're very harsh on yourself, but you have to allow what's coming up around you to help you make those situations. Go with the mending, go with the artwork, see what you can do on your own and see what you can bring in as money, because then it's showing me you have more work than you can handle with this work card. I think you'll be very busy. So I know you're stressing about money, but I can see that you can create it yourself. I don't necessarily see you going back to a 9-to-5 job right now. Is it okay if I say to you, why don't you try to kind of freelance it and see where you land?
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh. I know it's scary because Scorpios like their stability. But what if I told you you would do just fine on your own if you just start like doing what your talents are? Will you try it?
Is that? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Even if you taught art. Yeah. I mean, I think you have a lot of tools that you can use to succeed, but you haven't really paid attention to them or really given them too much time and attention. But why don't we see in the next, few weeks, see where this leads to and see how you feel by the end of the month and see what's coming in, like, and how it rolls your way. Okay. I don't see a bad future in front of you. I don't see you losing your house. I don't see all this disaster that you're worried about showing up. I see you can take care of yourself. You just need to be reminded that you can. And to maybe utilize some of the skills that you've taken for granted.
Uh-huh.
Does this help?
If I can give some advice to anybody out there, my mom had literally begged me to be the executor of her estate, knowing that this family member was the way she was.
Oh, dear.
And I begged her not to do it. I tried, I told her I loved her, but it was not a good idea. And it would be better if a lawyer did it, because, they can handle this stuff. So if you're out there and you're facing the same problem, take it to a lawyer and have the lawyer be the executor, please.
Yeah, that sounds like great advice. I'm hoping everybody can hear this who needs to hear this. I mean, I am a firm believer that everything comes out for a reason. So if you don't know how your families will respond, take it to a lawyer, like you said, Jean, right? I agree with you. So yeah. I'm going to have to get off with you, Jean. We can talk privately. You know how to get in touch with me. I'm going to take the next caller for a second. But I hope I answered what you needed to be answered. Did I?
Yeah, you did.
Good. All right. Thank you so much, Jean. And thank you for listening to One Two Listen and One Two Radio. I will talk to you soon and take care. All right. Chris, can you put Mary on really quickly? I'm going to answer her really quickly.
Mary goes live.
Okay.
Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Mary. What's your birthday, Mary? You're my Scorpio, aren't you?
11/9. Yeah, November 9th, 1958.
I think it's a day for Scorpios today. I had another one. Okay. So what can I answer for you, Mary?
Well, I would like to know, and I think I wasn't quite clear on this the other day, I just feel like there's some big changes that are definitely coming my way. And you had thought that maybe it had something to do with my husband, but it didn't.
Okay.
It has to do with something that I've been working on with manifesting. And I just feel like all of a sudden it's really close. And that's why I asked if you saw anything at the end of May, which we're already there. And you said July.
Okay.
I'm just wondering what it is that you might be seeing.
Yeah, and I remember this. I remember this question the other day, and I thought it was like tantamount to something that was not good that you were looking at, like asking me to look at, and I didn't see that. So let me take a look, Mary. Now that I have your, I'm going to pull some cards on that so you can hear it, and then you're probably going to be my last caller today, but we'll take a look. Okay, so this is around health and healing, isn't it? Because of what I'm getting. You're looking at trying to do, first of all, let me show you. You have the victory card on this, okay? So your idea of what you want to do is good, okay? I agree with you. And I had a feeling just from the other cards that I pulled that this was around health and healing. This is like a healing retreat center or something like that. Are you working in that practice area, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. You have the Knight of Swords, so you should be hearing of action soon that you can do. So I'm not surprised that you're feeling it because you have this Knight of Swords, meaning that something's coming in really quickly. Okay. And also showing me that you have the Queen of Wands here to where you will be in charge of it. But you have to go through a big change first. Here's this failure card. Now, we talked about this nostalgia card of things that didn't work out in order for this to work out. So I'm almost curious what didn't work out is what my question is. Or is what is changing, when I see that. And then we have the Judgment card on saying making a decision. I feel that if you're putting it out there and you're looking for backers, you're going to find some soon. But it's going to be maybe from learning from somebody who didn't have theirs succeed, or they're trying to make it happen because it didn't happen before. Does this make sense to you?
Yeah, because, we had actually formed a group of healing folks that were ready to do this about 10 years ago, and it just never happened.
Didn't work.
Because we never really had, I want to say, the financial backing to do it.
Okay.
And so some of them have fallen off, and some of them are still involved. And I just feel like the timing is finally that it's here.
I believe so,
it's already
too.
Here. We just need to grab it.
I believe so, too. And I think you'll be discussing this again. And what a great time for, the retrograde to be like looking through this in the next 3 weeks or so, kind of doing some planning, not necessarily starting, but planning. Okay. Yep. And then you have the the Peace card here, which is telling me that maybe you're going on vacation or making this into a vacation thing. I'm not really sure. Are you going on vacation?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm leaving next Thursday for San Diego for a week.
Okay. Pay attention to what you do when you're doing that vacation, because I think you're going to get a lot of brainstorming, and a lot of good things through that time to help you like figure out your situation. Some good luck is going to come. Things will start to fall together. And I think you're like intuitively aware that this is happening, but it's just all kind of falling together at this point. Like, pay attention to what's going on that vacation, because I think a lot of things are going to be coming at you to where you can start to put those connections together and really make this like, and I understand why I said July too, because I think this is the planning stages for you, but to go and actually move forward and make this into like an entity and a reality and have this happen again, it's probably not going to happen until July. Does that make more sense to you?
Well, yeah, because it's going to be a lot of planning.
Well, yeah, and it's not like you're going to just pop up and open this in July, but it's almost as if the official birth of like having the name and everything. I mean, I know you've been thinking about this for a long time, but like having this like really come to like something that is like going to be like birth or a creation time would be in July. Okay, like getting the ducks in a row. But that's what I'm seeing for you. I hope this helped. And you are a Scorpio. You're another Scorpio that's showing that with the right connections, you can make these good. You're going to reap what you sow. Unlike the person that I talked about earlier this episode, where they were with the wrong people and she's sowing the wrong things, I believe you're doing the right thing as a Scorpio, and these changes are happening because you're ready for them to happen. Does that make sense?
It's time. Yep.
It is definitely time. Well, I think we'll close off on that. And next week, I hope everybody listens. Thank you, Jean, and thank you, Mary, for coming on. I had 2 Scorpios. I didn't know that was going to happen that way. But you can see like the difference.
Synchronicity.
The synchronicity of it all. If you're a Scorpio or a Taurus, like I said, out there, hang tight. It's got to be better. This next 3 weeks, I will be here. Next week, I'm going to have Gracie Ray on live with me. We're going to talk about depression and a few other really cool things. You know how we blabber. We love to talk to each other and give our psychic opinions. And we'll probably open up the lines too if you want to have like a dual reading. So make sure to tune in next week. If you want to like find me, you can always find me on 12listen.com. I'm there. And I'm looking forward to showing that, my skills to you privately. And if you just want to come and listen next week, I will be here, same time, same place, live here on Facebook and on 12radio.com, where we are changing the way you listen to this world. Thank you, Chris, today, and all my people who came on to help me make this hour that went by very quickly. I will see you again, and have a great weekend, everybody. Have a happy Memorial Day and enjoy the full moon. Don't forget to burn your intentions and make good choices. Okay? Have a great day, guys. Thank you so much, and I will see you on the flip side of the week.